Evening all, welcome to the dropship fun. So this is a wonderful example of what happens when you've got a good dropship pilot, B, a good group of people who kind of do what they're told, and I mean that in a nice way, and C, the balls the size of I don't know, space hunters. Basically, this is a lovely tactic that I'm sure loads of people are using, but it's seldom seen enough, which is a shame because it is staggeringly useful and powerful and good. So what it is using a dropship obviously as a proper dropship. So the whole squad is centered around this dropship, and we use it to, as you say, hot drop into the enemy control points. And this is basically all we did, and it worked really well. And I said basically again, bloody hell, what's wrong with my brain? Anyway, basically. Anyway, so we're moving from one point to the other and doing this, as you see there, just literally dropping in. Now, we could do it from a greater height, but it's actually better tactically not to engage your inertia damper, because if you do that, you're in the world of hurt. So this actually worked a lot better to do a kind of soft drop. So it's a hot, soft drop. Ooh, that sounds quite technical. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. And basically, this was something that I think really opened the game quite nicely. To be honest, dropships are pretty much what brought me to Dust. I loved the artwork that first came out, showing dropships, showing people using them, dropping from them, shooting from them, etc. And I always thought, yeah, that's cool. And I think it's got to be a unique selling point of the game that dropships exist, are in it, and basically work in it. But very seldom few people use them. Mainly because they are not the easiest thing in the world to pilot. They're also incredibly soft and easy to kill. So basically that gives you a problem. And I said basically again. It's a funny thing because the reality is that dropships in the game do have an inherent weakness, is that a couple of forward gun shots and they're gone. Swarm launchers are particularly good against them as well. So the reality is that dropships are a touch flimsy. However, what we're using here is Evo's using his logistics dropship, which is actually quite survivable. I think as we get in, we see 4,100 shield and 1,000 health. Not bad, and I think that certainly it kind of keeps you alive after a couple of forge gun blasts, but after that you're probably going to be dead. Anyway, it was working really well. So what we're doing is then Evo would count down 3, 2, 1, and then we all dropped, and the whole gang jumped out at the right time, and it was a wonderful, exciting, fun thing to do. It's a bit of a gimmick, but I would say it's a gimmick that everybody was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So there we go, we all hot dropped, and we can see that all around us. There's 4 of us there, maybe 4, and then 2 gunners. And the thing is, the gunners are not to be underestimated. They're actually quite potent. So we had our dropship hovering above us with 2 gunners basically raining death down, and then 4 people, 4 people dropping as infantry to do the dirty, which was incredibly effective, I must admit. And as you can see, it was an amazing kind of tactic to do. So we're going using my scanner in a bit more kind of an intuitive way, because again, the purpose of the scanner in these scenarios is to make sure that you have actually captured the point for a good, meaningful time. Too often will somebody hide, and then as you run off or got back in your LAV or whatever it may be, the buggers come in and basically take the objective back, which is bloody annoying, I can tell you. So the beauty of the scanner is that it doesn't really, you can kind of see them at least close by and stop them from doing that. So here we go, all aboard the Evo train, we jump off, and then we hot drop into the next point, which kind of I got a bit wrong. I jumped a bit early, a bit too eager to be honest, but managed to get down and certainly getting into the fray. Now again, my orbitals here are a bit patchy. This is the problem. I would say the person who scans probably shouldn't be the person who orbitals as well. And I think sometimes you do an opportune drop like that, I mean too late at the end of the D, or rather get on a hack on D, so it's a bit pointless doing the orbital there. So yeah, you control me, I'm a terrible orbitaler, and that's generally why I don't squad lead now, because I'm just not very good at doing these drops. Most of the time I am usually the person who is running, jumping, evading from my life, strafing, running away. It doesn't make much sense for me to be the squad leader, because generally I die. Now, that's not always true, but I think, in this particular case, and certainly with this particular character, I would say it's just not it's not worth my time to try and be the squad leader. Particularly now I'm starting to tank, but that's another video. Next video, just as a kind of precursor, a little tidbit, as we would say in the UK. We're tanking. I've got my tanking ult back, and I have to say, it's bloody fun. Now, we will discuss the various issues that seem to be present with tanking. Yes, I've lost a few, but not many, and I've probably killed, I don't know, for every third round I lose a tank maybe, so, you know, I'm probably still ISK negative on the whole endeavour, but I'm, you know, very much joy and arousal positive in terms of fun, so, you know, I think it's a tricky one, but I would say we'll look at that next time round, but today we're still looking at our wonderful hot dog. And I would say it has actually made me try and learn dropships again. I know that dropships have changed considerably on 1.4, that bloody camera, but I'm getting used to it, and I'm getting back to the point where I'm not too terrible with them again. Definitely going to get into the assault dropship, because I still think it's the one, you know, get a vehicle in the game, it's the one method or mode in the game that really just excited me, so I think I'm definitely going to try and persevere. It is bloody hard though. I thought tanking was pretty tough, but I would say tanking is maybe something you get comfortable with. Same with Logi LAVs and other things. I think eventually you become skilled enough where it's just second nature, but I'm not really getting that with the dropship. It does feel as if you're constantly fighting the controls, you're fighting effectively the map around you, because in a tank, if something shoots you, you've got a pretty good chance of getting away, unless you kamikaze into something. With LAVs the same, but with dropships, I think it sucks that you can just be blasted out of the sky without any idea where on earth it came from. So that doesn't kind of fill me with much joy. To be honest, you know, we'll see how it goes. We will do a dropship, certainly an assault dropship gang. We're also going to do an assault dropship few videos as well, because I do like the idea of dropship, particularly the assault dropships. I think they're awesome. So anyway, our little tactic is kind of going quite well. Here we go, pick up again. It is just a joy. You do need a really kind of disciplined dropship pilot who doesn't mind effectively getting no kills. Now, they get a huge amount of war points and skill and ISK and all that, but you know, you have to have somebody who's a little bit selfless and kind of willing to take on for the team. And you know, I think Evo did a really good job here. I think the gunners as well, because yeah, they can. It's easier to kind of run around and get more kills and be higher on the board, but if you gun in a dropship, you're not always going to have a very high scoring round. But in essence, I would say it's, you know, it's a good thing to try and do. If you have a couple of good mates who you know that are kind of pretty chilled, then you know, definitely I'd say dropship pilot gunning is for them. And I think you can also reap some quite good rewards from doing it as well. So here we go, look at this. It's really, I mean, this to me was just a joy, because we would drop on a building, we'd breach, bang and clear. I think that's what the professionals say. But basically we would then get back into the dropship and move on to the next one. And this is an absolute joy of these new maps, is that you have this ability to go from kind of complex to complex. And I do believe this is what, you know, I think they've got it right. In the future, you wouldn't necessarily even build a lot of these on the planet. What's the point when you can build in zero gravity with absolutely minimal effort in reality? As long as you've got orbital refineries and you've got, you know, orbital manufactorums, you could in essence build everything in space and then just literally drop it onto the planet through the atmosphere. I mean, that I love, and this is the feeling I get from all of these bases in Dust. I think they've done a really good job, you know, building up this you know, pastiche that, in essence, everything is made in orbit and then dropped, or you know, built somehow kind of in low orbit and then, you know, retro down or whatever it may be, or literally just shot into the Earth. I mean, you get this lovely reactor cores going into the ground. Oh, I love it. I know I'm such a nerd about this stuff. I think there's something really cool about it. So, as the map goes, I think, you know, hopefully you've seen it's quite an intriguing and rewarding tactic to do. It is so lovely to see dropships being used as dropships. Too often they are used to, you know, do other things just to get on the high point, just to go and ram something, just, you know, something that's not really what they're meant to do. in a way. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate, but it's lovely to see dropships being used as dropships with a squad, picking up a squad, moving a squad, dropping them in, shooting, fighting, running, spawning back into the dropship if they drop, and it's lovely. I think there's everything is wonderful about that picture. And we had a good gang with us. We had Nano, who was running Logi, so we always had support, and we had heavy weapons, we had scouts, we had scanning, we had literally, this was one of those rare gangs that just had everything, and it had disciplined, good players, and it was an absolute joy. And naturally we won, and we kicked their ass because it was one of these ones where we just moved so quickly. They were unable to really, kind of address where we were going to be. The maps are so big as well, so you can't really just LAV it around or even foot it around, hot foot it around. You have to pretty much use things like dropships and certainly things like tanks to a degree in LAVs and such. So I would say these new maps are a blessing for vehicles. Controversial one there, but I do believe that. I think a lot of people still aren't using vehicles. I think the tank perceived, well, not nerfed, but I think people are moaning that tanks are obviously not as good as they were, and they're about to get nerfed to shit. And obviously 1.5, according to people with ammo and things like that, depletable ammo. Oh my god, it's going to be a new world. And this is certainly my mistake I made when 1.4 came out. Is it was a complete, it was a paradigm shift away from what I was used to, and the game became something else. But you know what? Once I became comfortable with that game, I realised it was a much better game after all. And I think the same will come with vehicles. Maybe certain things do need to be changed. I'm not going to mention Forge Gun because I got a lot of hate for mentioning that last time. But, maybe the game in general needs to be adjusted to make it a bit more easy to play. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. That is a really great example. And if you have never done this, give it a go. Get a dropship. Doesn't have to be a Logi one. Just get anyone. And try running a gang with the discipline just to protect the dropship and use the dropship to move around. And I think you'll have an absolute blast. I guarantee it. There you go, a Pyrex guarantee. And that isn't a return for some dishware at your local supermarket. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.